Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr,
And I'm Beth Ellicott.
and you are listening to Fiber Talk, the twice weekly podcast for the needlework artists. For the video people, we're trying something new. Instead of still pictures and the audio track, we're actually recording. Well, you can see our faces. If you're watching the video, you know there's something new. For the people
Yeah,
who, the vast majority who do the audio podcast thing, you shouldn't notice any difference. But we're just going to see if people like talking heads better than still photos, and we get a little more interest in the video things because they take work. Anybody who's built them knows. So
right.
we're going to try it this way for a few weeks and see how it goes. Let us know. Let us
Yeah.
know if you like talking heads and like seeing our faces and don't get bored after 3 or 4 times. I would. Let us know, and we can go either way, but we're going to give this a whirl and see what happens. When we signed off with the live show, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, week ago, yeah, we weren't going to be back until June 5,
Yeah.
okay? But in the interim, Clara Warschauer of Clara Stitching offered to us to give to our listeners 2 kits for her Sacred Heart class that she has coming up. And now you see now in this with our talking heads, you get to see me look at my notes, which normally you wouldn't see. So June 15, 7 to 9 p.m. UK time, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. It's a Zoom class that's free. The class is free, but obviously you have to buy the kit.
Right.
So Claire's offered 2 kits for us, and this is the Sacred Heart one. Is this little heart with flames out of it, and what goes across the middle there? There's like
Okay, that's the Immaculate Heart. So mine has flowers
oh
on it. If it's the Sacred Heart, it'll have yes, you see it's supposed to be imitate the crown of thorns that goes around Jesus' head. So it's um that's
yeah.
supposed to imitate that. So it looks like a big chain
So
across
it's a
there.
little red heart with kid leather and gold, it's gold work, and then flames coming out of the top and across in the flames. And then that's the crown of thorns there across the middle, the fat section of the heart.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and a beautiful manicure job in the picture that we'll use this picture. It'll be the lead photo for the listeners.
Right.
Yeah, beautiful manicure job for Clara. So yay for that. But so anyway, she has this class coming up on June 15 that's free. You can take it, and she offered 2 kits for Fiber Talk listeners. So in order for people to have enough time to enter the drawing, we're doing this podcast when we said we wouldn't have any shows till into June. We're doing this one, and we're going to have other things. It isn't just about this, but we've got want people to have a chance to get in the drawing for these 2 kits, and Clara will ship them anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So it's not just U.S. or U.K. because she's in the U.K. Anywhere in the world she'll ship them. So live show people know the routine for drawings, but we'll go through it. So what you do to get in the drawing is you send an email to Gary@WeTalkFiber.com. That's my email address, Gary@WeTalkFiber.com. In the subject line, you put the word Clara, the name Clara, Clara. Be careful you spell it right, and don't put anything else in the subject line because you go to a special smart mailbox on the old Apple machine, and so all of them go into one spot. So Clara is the subject line. Gary@WeTalkFiber.com is the email address. Then in the body of the email, you put your name and address so we can mail it to you. Helps.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
So from this show until the June 5 stitch hour, the end of the June 5 stitch hour, Wednesday, June 5, this will be open. So you can enter any time between now and the end of the stitch hour show on June 5. And that starts at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and we usually end around 9:15-ish.
Right.
9:30, 9 o'clock, what it depends on how it rolls. So You can enter anyway, and of course we'll have reminders during that show for people. But we wanted people to have an ample opportunity to enter this drawing for one of these kits. So 2 kits from Clara. We really appreciate Clara thinking of us and making this available. And this is a free class that she's doing with the folks at Ecclesiastical Sewing.
Right.
She's been doing some things with them and lately. So send your email, Gary@WeTalkFiber.com. The subject line, just put the word Clara, Clara, and then your name and address in the email. And then, yeah, anywhere in the world. Yeah, we're kind of a global thing. Matter of fact, we had a winner last week from Australia. So Marga filled out all the forms for the drawing, and off it goes. So so that's the catalyst for this show, was to make sure that people could get in this drawing. So thanks to Clara for that. And
Yes.
Clara Stitching, clarastitching.com is Clara's site. Go visit that. She's always got something going on. She's fantastic. Yeah.
Yes. And in fact, she just did the ladybug class, and I didn't sign up for that one, but it
I
looked
figured you did.
wonderful. I came real close, and I thought, no, I've got to finish a couple other kits first. But she offers it again. I think I'll sign that up for that one, because I love ladybugs, and it would just be so nice to add to my stash of kits, right?
Yeah, sure. These days we need a goldwork cicada. No, they're gross.
Oh, yeah.
No,
No,
no.
no.
Had
I guess not.
Had one this morning fly into my cycling helmet.
Ooh.
While I was climbing a hill on a 2-lane road that was somewhat busy, and so I couldn't stop because it was a pretty steep hill. I couldn't stop, so I had to keep riding with this thing crawling around in my helmet. It was creepy. And then I almost got to the top, and it had crawled forward and went down over my forehead and got out and flew away. So, but yeah, for about 3 minutes there, it was gross.
I can understand not like them then. Yeah.
I'll pass.
Like,
But clarastitching.com, go check her out. I started the frog, and I started the koi. And you started and finished the frog and the koi, right?
I didn't do the koi. I did not.
Right.
That's
right. You had that moment of self-discipline.
Yes, and that's why I don't have the ladybug either, because I had a small moment. See, this is my little frog. We'll put a photo in there. It is just so cute. Yeah. With those little eyeballs.
Right. Yep. Oh, yeah, it's a great design. The cool thing about Clara's stuff, most of her stuff is very small. Yes. So it gives you a chance to do gold work on a very small scale, where sometimes gold work is a rather involved thing, but you can do it's fairly quick if you actually do it.
Right.
Unlike me, but if they're fairly quick projects, they're very well done. But you can get it done and have some success and have a cool little thing. So yeah.
Right. And she makes it accessible. I think she shows her first attempts at things too, which it kind of gives you confidence. There's okay, so Clara went through this whole stage of her frog's eyes looking really funky and
yeah.
But and you learn different techniques that like this is all the little chip work that goes, little chip work in the little legs, and then I can't remember what this is called, where you lay that bigger pieces down to.
Yeah, I don't remember. Around the eyes.
Around the eyes and on the abdomen, the body of the thing, which was a little difficult. Mine's not perfect, but it's done. It's done, and it is small. I mean, how big is that? It's maybe 1.5 inches.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
It's not very big.
So
and same with the hearts too. She you're thinking, well, I'm not Catholic. Why would I do a heart? One of the Sacred Heart. I think she goes through and explains the symbolism behind it when she teaches the class, and then a heart shape is kind of universal. It has meaning for a lot of different people. So, so you learn the techniques and you can make it your own.
Yeah. So. Yeah. At some point, it's the exercise of building the thing and doing the stitching and learning the techniques and doing it on a project that you can wrap your head around rather easily.
Right.
So.
Right. And the other thing is she kits up really fun boxes. Like if she puts out her like a
Yeah.
colorway of. She'll have like a whole goldwork box and has a whole variety of threads that maybe if I've never used them before, you've tried one of her classes or you've tried a little goldwork and you want to play. It's like she sends you all this stuff to play with.
Yeah. Well, you have one of those boxes? Yeah,
Yes.
I do too. Yeah, they're great fun. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, all kinds
Yeah.
of cool stuff. Yep. So
Yeah.
clarastitching.com, send your email, Gary at wetalkfiber.com, subject line Clara and name and address. Please make sure you put the name and address in there. It's just real hard to send things if we don't have that.
Yes.
And then we'll do the drawing right after the show next Wednesday, the Stitch Hour show next Wednesday. So thanks to Clara, clarastitching.com. Go check her out. If you have even a small interest in gold work, she makes it really accessible, affordable, accessible, and
Right.
you'll have, and she's a good teacher too, so you'll have success with it. So
Mm-hmm.
do check her out, and thanks to Clara for that. So that's a cool thing. So anyway, all right, that was why we did this show tonight when we said we weren't going to do anything.
For Clara.
Yep.
Well,
It's
actually,
what.
for all of our
Yeah.
listeners, because
Yeah.
they get get a chance for
Yeah.
2 free kids.
Yeah. It's what we do for the listener. Yep. All right.
Yes.
So we'll have the Stitch Hour next Wednesday, and then we'll resume things on June 9 with Linda Haddon from the Sampler Guild in England. And yeah. And if you'll recall, when last time we had Kathy Andrews on, she showed a sampler where she was on a Stitch Hour, I think it was, where she had a sampler with a labyrinth in it,
Mm-hmm.
a maze, a labyrinth, and she's looking for others. And then we
Right.
did a talk with her. I think, well, I did, yeah. With they were talking about the Solomon's Temple, was it?
Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
this sampler guild, Linda Haddon and Jacob DeGraff, and then the lady, I can't remember her name. I knew I had to write
Ruth
it down.
something. Ruth.
Crow?
That sounds right, but I'm not sure.
I
Don't
think
quote
Ruth
me.
Crow. Anyway, those three are the nucleus of the Sampler Guild in the UK, and it's an organization. But what they're doing, a lot of their focus is on studying the motifs,
Right.
where they came from, how they traveled around the world, how they changed, what they mean, and all that. So it's more than it's going beyond just the girls that stitched it.
Right.
You know, the
Right.
little girl, and she had two parents, and which we hope she had, um, and all that stuff.
Right.
This is looking at the motifs is
Right.
their focus, and so it was a great conversation with them, and I hope we're going to be able to do more with the Sampler Guild in the future as they get their research done, and they already have a paper. We made it available. If you go to the website wetalkfiber.com. And look up Kathy Andrews. I forget when it was, but there's a link there to the paper for the Solomon's
Solomon's Porch.
Porch. There, I knew it wasn't temple; it was porch. Yeah,
Yeah.
the research that they did, and they're working on other things. So,
Right. Right. And they're a really fun group. I belong to them. They meet 1 day a week via Zoom and discuss. So if you're really interested in samplers, they do a lot of kind of round robins. I mean, they're from the UK, so they get together there,
right,
which I wish I could do with them, but
yeah,
but yeah, doing a lot of interesting research
yeah,
on samplers
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, and
interesting group.
that gets me excited when they're looking at the motifs and stuff because. The girls are in. The girls who did the things. That's interesting, and where they came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting to a point. And then to me, those stories all start to sound the same.
Right.
Two or three different basic stories. Where now, looking at where did this motif come from? Where did it show up? How did it travel there? How did it get to the States? Those kinds of things. I find that
Right.
to be.
Or even the teachers. To me, that's interesting too.
Yeah.
You've got teachers, and you're looking at these samplers, and they all look very similar, and you're like, okay, and they're from different parts, maybe of the United States, and you're thinking, okay, so how did all these three girls do this sampler that looks almost exactly
Right.
the same?
Right.
It's
Yep.
really curious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the curiosity
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Was it one teacher, or did they have a teacher convention? and share the pattern, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How that
Because
all
that's,
happened.
back in that time, it was either by foot or by horse that things
Hmm.
traveled. So, a chart had to be carried somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, so that's fascinating. So that'll be on the 9th. We'll be back to our regular schedule, June 9, with Linda Haddon. It was a fascinating conversation with her, and I do hope we get to do more with them because they're doing really cool work. So, yep. And then June 24 and 25, we're all going to go to Sassy Jack Stitchery.
Yeah.
And
Have you been saving your pennies?
yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. Except I need to say more than just pennies, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be someone sent us a note saying, talking about the thread room that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very tempted by that.
Yeah, Beth's going to be a problem there. It's going to be a problem for Beth. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not, I wonder how much room there is in the camper. I think there's a little hideaway under the bed.
If
Maybe
you
I can
guys if
stash
you
some
guys
stuff.
rent a U-Haul trailer and haul it behind the camper, things got out of control. I'm telling you that
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
right, absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
I I know Jennifer's making a list. She's getting organized. She's making a
Yeah.
list, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Look out.
oh, a list.
I'm winging it.
Me
I'm
too.
winging it.
Me
Yeah.
too.
So June 24 and 5, we'll all be there. Actually, it'll be the first time that all of us have met Jennifer face to face,
Yeah.
and the first time we've all been in one place live. So, and then Kim's got some things planned. We're gonna do some shows. We'll make sure you see all aspects of the new shop. And then Kim, one of the nights is going to have a meet and greet, either Monday night or Tuesday night, a meet and greet where she'll have hors d'oeuvres and beverages and stuff, and you can come over and meet us if you want.
If you want, if you want.
We'd like to meet you. I
Yeah,
think that's
that's
really,
true.
yeah, we'd
That
like to meet you. If you
we'd
want
like
to
to
meet
meet you.
us, whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it'd
I
be
mean,
fun to
I think
put.
it would be great to meet a whole bunch of people that listen to the podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be fun. And
will be.
somebody asked when we talked about this last Wednesday where it's located. And, we just take that for granted that it's sassyjackstitchery.com. But I thought it was a good question, and I posted an answer to that. But it's in Woodfin, North Carolina. So Weaverville Road, Woodfin, North Carolina, sassyjackstitchery.com. So, if you're within a driving distance of there and want to come and meet with the people who enable you to spend your money, we'll be glad to have
Yes.
you.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll be there 2 days. The shop is closed those 2 days, but which is why Kim's having the meet and greet. That way we can do shows and stuff and not interrupt commerce. But so there'll be a nighttime evening thing. Kim mentioned she has a covered porch in the back, and
Oh, that'd be nice.
yeah, so it looks like, yeah, I think it'll be fun. So June 24 and 5, we'll have our schedule will get interrupted then because we'll be traveling and or doing that. But and Cindy and I'm riding down with Cindy and Robin.
Are you guys planning any side treks, or are you just straight down?
We've not discussed.
Okay.
We've not
Because they
discussed.
are master enablers.
Yeah,
I'm bad,
yeah.
but they are really
Oh,
bad.
they're like the pinnacle. Yes,
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 yes.
yeah.
They have
So
inventory.
yes, yeah. So I'm riding down with them. Jennifer is flying, and Beth and Max are taking the camper, and because you're going to enjoy the Smoky Mountains afterwards. So
That's right. That's the
yeah,
plan. That's the plan
yeah.
right now.
And you're staying at the in the backyard there of the place.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. It'll be perfect.
yeah,
We're really looking forward. Max was saying, "Hey, where are we going to park?" And so we did a Google Map thing, and I said, "Look, I think right there." And he goes, "That's perfect, perfect."
yep,
It is. He's a little worried about what he's going to do during the day. He says, "What are you guys doing all day?" And I said, "We're stitching and talking." And he's like, "Well, what am I going to do?" And I was like, "Well, I'll pop up the tent and you can read a book." He
yeah,
goes, "Well, can I
yeah,
come in and read a book?" And I was
yeah.
like, "Well, yeah, I guess." So
Sure. Hey, it'd be great
sure.
to meet Max. Yeah, It'd be great. So June 24 and 5 is when that'll be. We'll have shows, some live, at least one live show during the day, and then we'll have some videos. I have some ideas of the GoPro camera walking around buying stuff is what
Ooh.
my
Ooh.
I'm thinking maybe we could take the GoPro camera and each of us could go shopping. Somebody handle the camera, and the other person do a shopping trip through the store.
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
So
That'd be fun.
four enabling videos. Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great. And see what each of us are drawn to
Yeah.
because there's each of us have slightly different tastes on things, and it'd
Yeah.
be
Oh
interesting
yeah.
to see
Yeah.
what calls us that ends up in the basket.
Right. Right.
And if we
So
have any that are
yeah.
all the same, that's the other thing. I'm wondering if there's gonna be another
Yeah.
start along. You never can
Yeah.
tell with us.
Yeah. Everybody gloms onto the same thing. We
Hmm.
do know that the rest of us will all have to go to the thread room before Beth goes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we at
Yes.
least have a shot at the threads. Yeah.
Yes.
That's rule number one. So
Not fair. Uh,
yeah.
that'll be so much fun.
See, it's either going to be a U-Haul trailer on the back of the trailer, or you're going to ship stuff home with Cindy in her trunk.
Oh, that's a good idea.
One or the other. I think massive amounts of stuff are going home to.
To the Ellicott household.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So mark your calendars for that. We'll be talking about it up till then. But June 24 and 5 at Sassy Jacks, the new shop, and it's open if you're in the area or want to make a trip. The
Yeah.
shop is open 10 to 6 Wednesday through Saturday.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
and yep,
Which is
and,
nice that she's open past 5, so that way
yep,
if you're a working gal, a working person, you can get in there.
yeah, yep, and
And on Saturday so late. That's
right.
nice too.
And she has Sunday to recuperate. Monday and Tuesday, I'm sure she's shipping
Shipping.
stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Shipping.
yeah. There was a thing when I was doing the aquarium stuff a long time ago. There was an article in Aquarium magazine, how to have a fish store fail,
Oh.
and it listed things. But one of the top thing was to be open when other people are working, and then your shop will fail.
Right.
And so, like you said, open till 6, so you can go after work and get stuff on Saturday. Yeah, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
important. Yeah, people do have
Yeah.
to work. So, yep.
Yeah.
So that's that. Remind people the coronation show that we did on May
Oh.
5. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a long one, so do it in segments.
Mm-hmm.
But it's yeah, you'll really
Yeah.
come to appreciate.
And the beautiful work. I was just thinking about that coronation gown again and the gold work in that.
Yeah, yep, amazing,
It
amazing.
is. It
Yep.
is.
I just
Now, would
can't.
you have
Go
you
ahead.
ever you haven't taken a gold work class from them, right? You haven't
No,
taken any classes.
no,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Intimidating. Would it be
Yes.
intimidating?
It would be intimidating.
Probably. Yeah, yeah. But oh,
Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't
I
know.
I
I
bet
mean,
no. I bet that they've taught so many people in so many ways that I bet they have it. They really have it down. I'm betting.
mhm,
Yeah, they'd
yeah,
have to have. I mean, how many decades have they been teaching needlework?
right.
I can't. I just every time I think about them, I cannot get over how cool it is that they can bring a whole bunch of people and have them do gold work on a 12-foot piece of cloth for the Queen of England. Okay,
Hmm.
not some schmo. The Queen
Right.
of England that's going to be on global TV, hung off
Right.
of her shoulders, and they can bring a whole bunch of people in and have them all work on the same piece, and you can't tell.
Right.
I mean, I know they teach everybody the same. I know all the things, and I don't care. That's impressive.
Yes. Yes. Because if you and I sat and we both worked on the same piece, I know her tension would be different.
Yep,
It would be
guaranteed.
different.
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah. You'd be able to tell for sure.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean,
But
that's
yeah.
just it. Just blows me away. And then what the one picture we showed, there was what eight, maybe 10 people around that gown,
Mm-hmm.
all working, or that robe, all working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Gold work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. On
I mean,
velvet.
I know. Yeah, yeah. That
That's
too.
like, that's like,
Yeah.
from what I understand, that's not easy to do.
I don't even want to try it.
No. I'd kind of like to, but I got to get better at it before I try that.
How do you get it taught? I mean, it's so flexible.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
don't know. Curious, but yeah, watch that show. That show, I
Yeah.
mean, they were amazing, and Susan was just Dr. Susan. Can't think of
K.
her last name.
Williams. Susan
Yeah,
K. Williams. Yep.
she just was right on. She just had the answers. She
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah, that's another one. We got to do a show just with her, just to talk about her career and her stitching. We got to
Hmm.
do a show with her because that's the other thing. Every time we talk to her, she just the history and the knowledge just fall out of her head.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the next show with the Royal School is we got to do just her just to learn how she got to where she is today because that's got
Hmm.
to be a story. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep. So watch that. It's the May 5 show. It's in that we recorded as a video.
Hmm.
So, but if you just go to wetalkfiber.com, on that page are there's the audio podcast, there's the video podcast, and then there's a slideshow of all the pictures that we used in the video. So you can go through the slideshow and stop and zoom in and play around. So all of that is on the page at wetalkfiber.com, everything. So you
Yeah.
can go in there and just immerse yourself if you want and be amazed at what those women do. And one guy. That was the other thing. I was so mad I forgot to ask who he was.
Right. Right.
We needed his name. There's a show we need to do with the one
Yeah.
guy,
One guy.
the Royal School's one guy.
The one guy who's there. The one guy
Yeah,
who's there.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was cool. Yep. All right, monogamous stitching. Jennifer was doing the monogamous stitching, and she's quite happy.
Hmm.
I'm not even going to
Yeah.
try.
You're not even trying?
No, no.
You just kind of jump around to whatever
Yeah,
you
yeah,
feel like doing.
yeah.
It's whatever's there for the day, whatever
Right,
calls your name,
right.
whatever's closest.
Well,
That's what,
the beloved one from Running with Needles and Scissors, or Needles and Scissors. I haven't worked on that really since we started it, and I sat down to stitch last night, and there it was. So I just grabbed it. It was right there. Started stitching
right.
on it. So yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
Jennifer's really happy doing her monogamous thing. So what are you doing? You got multiple. You always have multiples going.
I always have multiple, but for a while, I worked on just one thing at a time. So I worked on, I can see it across the way, but it's the Tudor Rose pocket from Dawn Roningen.
Oh yeah.
So I finished that. I wouldn't let myself work on anything else till I got it done because I thought if I put this down, it'll end up in the basement, mostly done, and that would be
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah.
Same with the wool applique. I just kept working. It was easy to take with me. I took it with us camping, and I got it done.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, well, what next?
Oh.
So the modern folk embroidery, the No Time Like the Present, which is a
Yeah.
huge piece. I thought, okay, well, I'll try to finish May. I got all of May, the May little, because it's broken into a monthly
So you're
sal.
keeping up then.
Yeah, so I'm at May. I think I finished May. No, I didn't finish May. I finished April. I'm a month behind. That's
Okay.
it. But it's okay. I'm good with being only a month behind. So I finished that. And then I thought, okay, I finished April. What else? Now what can I work on? And so I pulled out Dawn to Dusk, which is sitting right next to me. So I can grab it.
Yeah.
And if you look at that I decided I'm going to finish the brocades. And then I realized there's no way I can finish all the brocade because it's got 3 steps. But I thought, okay, I got 1 step of all of them done.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I thought, well, that's not bad. That's not a bad goal. So
Yeah.
it's kind of giving me the opportunity. I'm kind of trying to stick with one project at a time, I guess. Not, although the other day I worked on three in one day, so
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
blew that one.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, no, that's not
Nice
going to work.
try.
Yeah,
Nice try.
I think I was just a little stressed, so it was like, okay, I'll work on this, and I was like, okay, I'm not working on this because I was flipping through my phone looking at Instagram. I was like, okay, let's put this away and find another project to work
Yeah.
on. You're
Yeah.
obviously not,
Yeah.
and the
No,
mindset for this one.
I got them all out here, so I might as well work on them. But here's, I don't get to stitch a whole lot, not near as much as I want. So here's, last weekend, we went to Michigan. There was a bike ride in the northwest corner of Michigan that started north of Traverse City and then went on up to the Straits. Just a 50-mile ride. It's just a beautiful through the woods, and then the second half of the ride, you ride along the lake shore all the way up, and then
Oh, nice.
like 5 miles from the end, you can see the bridge in the distance. And it's just beautiful. So Marga went, and we were going to. Well, we did. We spent 2 nights on Mackinac Island because what they do is part of the ride is they give me a round trip ticket to go on the ferry to the island. Well,
Oh,
we
nice.
we booked a bed and breakfast there for 2 nights, so Saturday night and Sunday night, and then came back Monday morning. So we went over to the island, and we caught one of those weekends where the weather was just perfect, just perfect. And I did 3 laps around the outside because there's a road that goes all the way around the island. There's no cars, so I rode 3 laps around, took my bike, everything, and then so all right. So we're packing up because we're doing that, and then we're driving across the Upper Peninsula back down through Green Bay to Illinois to see our son and our son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter for a couple days. So, all right, I pack up my stitching, all the things, the magnifier light, all the things, all right? And I think, oh, I'm going to sit out on the porch at the bed and breakfast and stitch while we're there and just watch the
Hmm.
world go by, because it sits up on where we stayed, sits up on a hill. You look over the harbor and you can see the boats coming in and out. There was a cruise ship, a Great Lakes cruise ship, massive
Oh,
thing,
fun.
a lot bigger than I thought that you would get. So, all right, so I have those plans. Well, we go to get on the ferry, and it's just, the stitching stuff is just one too many things. The bike, the suitcase, all the things. So I left it in the car. Okay, whatever. I'll stitch when I get to my son's. So we get to my son's. Can you help me take the pedestal sink out of our half bath, put in a cabinet, a vanity cabinet, and a new sink, and plumb it, and hang a mirror? Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no
No
problem.
problem.
Redo
So
the
I did.
bathroom while you're there.
Yeah. Well, essentially we did.
That's what you did. That's what
Yeah.
you did. No
Yeah.
stitching getting done. No
No.
stitching getting done. No.
No. So when we got in the car to drive home to Missouri, I just put the stitching back in the car and headed home. It just,
So it just traveled with you around.
yeah, I had it. Had I had an opportunity, I would have
Right.
stitched, but yeah. Nope. So I brought it
Well,
home, put it away. What are you going to do? Yeah.
yeah.
But we had a good time. Oh,
That's good.
it was one of those 65 to 75 degrees, sunny for 2 solid days up there, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron. Oh, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
And of
It's
course,
it's
and it's far enough north, the spring is just kind of getting going. Like all the tulips were out.
oh really?
Yeah, like in
Wow.
full cry. Well, that's a month. Ours has been gone for a month easy. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, anyway, no stitching, but
Yeah.
a good time. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's one of those places Max and I want to visit with our little camper. Someone he used to work with lives kind of, I can't remember where exactly he lives, and he's been saying, "Hey, you guys come and visit us. There's great campgrounds really close.
Yep.
We could get together and have a beer." And I'm like, "Hey, perfect. Sounds good.
Yep.
Let's get the camper and go."
Yep. Well, I mean, I lived that's where I was born, is in Michigan. I grew up there. I am a big fan of that state, and the northern half of the lower peninsula and the upper peninsula. I just think it's some of the best traveling to be done. Traverse City, one of my favorite places in the entire country, and I've been to a bunch of them. Traverse City is just beautiful. Yeah, check with me when you go.
Okay, yeah,
You got to go over to the island, stay in
right,
there. I don't know if it's worth it, but
yeah,
to go over for a day on the ferry and experience that is, yeah, yeah.
yeah. We want to definitely do that. That's
But
on our bucket list. Yeah,
yeah, and then well, and for you, you could pretty much do the same trip that we did because you go across the Upper Peninsula, so you could see the Sioux Locks and the Tequamanon Falls, Pictured Rocks up in on
yes,
Lake Superior. You could do the whole thing. You guys could spend 3 weeks in the camper, and
yeah,
Michigan is set up for camping. Yeah, I mean that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. So highly recommend Michigan. Yep. All right.
Yep.
Now you put down in the notes that you're thinking about designing a sampler.
It just keeps running across my mind. Okay, I
And
love
I was glad to see that because I have had thoughts about that from time to time. So
really.
what's in your head? Yeah.
Okay, well, I like the 17th century band samplers. I've always liked them. I have band samplers that I did ages ago, and there's so many patterns out there that I'm like, oh, I like that one, and I like that one, and I think there's no way. There's no way I have enough time in my lifetime to stitch all those samplers. So I
Yeah.
thought what I really ought to do is try to take the bits and pieces of them and design my own.
Yeah.
And but my fear is, I'm afraid it'll look like a mismatch if I just started taking things from different samplers. It almost seems like you need to make sure there's a nice balance. Um, but the other thought was, why don't I just get a piece of cloth, salvage to salvage, and just start stitching? Put basting lines along the sides and to make sure it stays within the right width, and then just do what the girls did and go salvage to salvage, and what it ends up, it ends up.
Yeah.
I don't know, but then I'm afraid it'll be ugly.
I don't think so. I don't think so because even the ugly ones are tolerable. That we see.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
to me, I think there's a decision to be made up front, and that is what kind of sampler am I going to do? A band sampler, a Quaker sampler, or am I going to do like Bristol samplers,
right,
with just a collection of motifs? There, I don't think you can miss. I
right,
mean, have some central focus piece and then just hang a bunch of stuff around it. Make it kind of symmetrical, throw in a couple of oddballs just to break up the flow. I don't think you can miss there. Band samplers, heck, that's just whatever you want to
right,
string together, right?
right. But I'm thinking, how the 17th century ones, the ones that are really beautiful. Dorcas Hayes, there's another one by the Scarlet Letter that Jennifer mentioned that I looked up. There's some that are just they have more than just the running stitch, or they're not just cross stitch flowers. They've got the queen stitch. They've
Right,
got long arm cross. What else? Rice stitch.
right.
Maybe a Bargello section. I'm trying to think, do they have Bargello in them?
Some do.
Yeah, satin stitch.
Yep.
Um,
Monte-
and I think Montenegrin,
yeah, of course. Got to have that.
the dreaded.
Some eyelets, an eyelet
Right,
alphabet. Yeah.
right. But it's, I like them better than spot motif samplers. I mean, those are okay, but the ones I've always drawn to, the ones I collect that I have lots in my basement, are the
Yeah.
band samplers, and especially 17th century,
Because see,
especially 17th.
to me that's the easiest ones to do. Because to me, you make a list of the stitches you want to do, and then choose some colors and make some
Away you go.
bands.
Well, but I think to make it really nice, it's got to be kind of balanced. And
Yeah,
what about the
yeah,
ones that look, if you go, really don't like Pinterest. I shouldn't say I hate Pinterest. I don't like Pinterest, but I do look
yeah,
at Pinterest occasionally for these old samplers, and they're at the bottom, they have white work on them.
yeah.
and I think, oh, then I could do some sort of white work at the bottom too,
Yeah.
like a crazy person. So would you just get a salvage to salvage?
No, what I do is I would find pieces of bands from other samplers or examples of stitches, and I would do it all with pieces of paper
Mm,
and just cut out strips of some kind, duplicate them, do whatever you have to do, and then I would just lay them all out
right.
on just lay it out on a table, and then shift them around till you got what you liked. And yeah, I agree. There should be some kind of a balance. But is it going to be your colors from light to dark or dark to light? What is going to be your look or your flow? Are you
Hmm.
going to have a central band that stands out, that's got some
Right.
complexity, a Montenegrin with some vines or who knows what, that's going to be,
Right.
and then you're going to go from there from the center out. I mean, those kinds of basic decisions, and then I'd just let it fly.
Yeah. And because a lot of them have that pineapple
Yeah,
that which is beautiful, with because it's normally done with a little bit of satin stitch in there,
yeah, yeah.
and that seems like that's always, it seems like a huge big motif right there,
hmm
and maybe build from there. Yeah, that's a
I don't think it's that hard. I'm not selling anybody short on this, but I don't think in general it would be that hard. Because I look at that banding thing that I've been stitching on since forever.
mhm,
All I did was said, I'm going to take Bristol sampler stitches, patterns, and alternate them with an alphabet, a running alphabet, and then do the alphabet in different fonts. Just
mhm,
lifting it off of other Bristol samplers or other, samplers of that
right.
ilk. And then I put what the Bible or I forget what I put in the middle to give a more
Mm,
a focal point, and
mhm,
just kept that running. And
right.
I'm just doing that on the fly, and I think that's coming out okay.
Yeah. And I think what makes that good is you've used one thread.
Right,
You've used this,
right,
like, well, it's a Bristol, so that's,
right.
a no-brainer. I think the what I'm a little worried about is color choices on a band sampler, because it can be a little much if you're not careful with your color choices. But I don't know. And again, just to clarify, this is for my own use. I'm not copying people's charts and then going to go and
Right, right.
sell my pattern.
Yeah, yeah,
This is mine. This is mine, so I can use the things I already have, so that they're
right.
not living in my basement.
Yeah.
Um,
But
but
even that, yeah, you don't want to just pick up somebody's chart and copy it, but you can go to those. Mary Corbett has had more than one link through the years of those free old books that you can download that have all kinds of
mhm,
patterns in them, and you
right,
can lift those and stitch them. Those are all copyright. They're out of print, out of copyright, out of everything, and you can just lift those and use those. There's plenty of resources.
right.
But I don't know what I would. That's a curious question. If you said, all right, the Bristol samplers, does somebody own the copyrights to all those patterns? I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They own the copyrights, I would suggest, to each sampler. Like
Right,
if Claudia Dutcher, I won't get her name right, but anyway, she bought those, so she owns those samplers. So if you
right,
copy that, you're infringing on her copyright. But those motifs, those patterns, they're just kind of a universal thing,
right,
along with
right.
Quaker samplers. Like I'm sure it'd be interesting to talk to Karen Kluba about her Quaker things. Did she have to get some permission? I doubt it
Yeah,
for those medallions.
right, right. Or does she just make them up
Yeah, yeah,
too? I don't know. I
right,
don't know. Yeah, but they are kind of universal.
right.
Those, but it would be fun to do. I
Yeah,
think, to do it because we have so many of those. Um, we have the sampler. We
mm-hmm,
have a couple of those,
yep,
and there they are. They're sitting there, and I think
yeah,
I'd like to stitch parts of them at least.
right, right. But that's just
You
it.
know,
You're if you use parts of those, those are stitches, bands that
hmm
you could find 100 places if you
right,
took the time to look.
right. Like we were saying about the Sampler Guild.
Yeah,
I mean, how did those travel?
right.
Like the boxers
Yeah,
that are on
exactly.
there.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
So I mean, somebody will correct us if we're wrong, but I mean, I just don't think that those are so old. They're like hymns and hymnals. That
hmm
at the bottom it'll say, basically anybody can use them.
hmm
They're just so old. So, but to put one together, I mean, it's time. To me, it's just time. And I mean, you've created enough stuff that you have an eye for how color works. For
yeah,
crying out
yeah. And
loud,
I just think
you
I
know.
think it would just be fun. I just think it would be fun, and it's been popping in my head more often as I see, I see things that people are stitching, and I think, oh, that's beautiful, that's beautiful. But I think I really don't have time to do everything,
Yeah, yeah,
and I do love samplers. I do love the band samplers because they have so many different stitches in them, and I think that's what draws me to them.
right. And if you're not
Even
going to
that,
sell it, you can do. I mean, you're not going to sell it, so you can do whatever you want.
right, right,
There's nothing stops you from doing that. As long as you're not selling it, you can do whatever you want. Because
right,
now there'd be a fun thing to a band sampler, and then a chart of where you got each band
right.
with a little picture of the sampler, and this is the
hmm
band from that. That could be a
hmm
cool little thing to go with it.
Right, right. So that
Yeah,
way it would be a reference. So that way you
right,
could go back if you're like, oh wow, okay, I really liked that band that I did, and that was from this sampler. Maybe I will go back and do that sampler.
right, right. That could be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then
yeah.
you could go around doing lectures on how you put that together. And okay, maybe not.
No, no, no. Okay, so what kind of sampler would you want to do?
I'd want to pick motifs. I know exactly what I would do. I so enjoyed Hannah Longstreth, Barbara
hmm
Hudson's Hannah Longstreth, with those different motifs. There were some were flowers and some were patterns and stuff, but just rows and then Hannah's name in the middle. So I would go looking for those kinds of motifs, and I would collect a bunch of them. I just collect them, and
hmm
then I'd make copies, lay them out on the table, and move them around till I got a look that I wanted, and then I would build that. That would be what I would do.
So would you add modern things to it, like
Yeah,
a bicycle?
yeah. I would be not limit myself whatsoever.
Mm.
It would, but there would be some kind of a theme. Like it would
Okay,
be mostly flowers or say outdoor stuff or something like that. I would find some theme that kind of ties them all together. But that's what I would do. And because I really enjoyed, you stitch that one motif and then you're done with it and you move on to the next one and it all kind of comes together. So yeah, that's what I would do. And I think I would have as much fun finding the pieces, cutting them out, and placing them on the table
right,
in the size that I wanted as I would stitching it. Just
right.
yeah,
I think I wonder, and then what about colors? Because that would be might be a little more difficult depending on the motifs you were using.
yeah. That could be a trouble because you could easily get way too many colors.
hmm So you'd
Yeah,
have to, like, let's say you did flowers, you'd have to change all the symbols.
right, right,
Oh,
right.
but
But
so, but
but even
doable.
that, if you have a pot of flowers, you could say, all right, these are the colors in that pot. Okay, for all the rest of them, I'm going to use 3 of these 5 colors. That visually ties it together, and then I'll
hmm
throw in some others. Seems
Right,
like you could do that without too much trouble.
right, and DMC is nice in that you have
Yeah,
such a good colored range.
right.
You have values in there that you can use.
Yeah,
So you're not all. It's not all one color of blue. You can use all the shades of that blue, and it
right,
would look good.
right. And I mean, I think the assumption is that this is done from stash, right?
Yeah, that's the
Theoretically.
idea. Theoretically,
But so you're on the fly anyway with your colors, right?
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. You just want them to look harmonious. You don't want them to be
Right.
glaring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you stitched a motif and came back 2 days later and it made you ill to your stomach, you'd
Out
change
it
the
would come.
color. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of it. I think people get a little afraid of ripping still.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
But see, now
I
that would
don't.
be a fun group project.
Mm,
Take your guild for instance. You collect a whole bunch of band stitching that
mm-hmm.
most people could do. Not Montenegrin, uh,
Not
but
Montenegrin.
but collect a bunch of those and give everybody, like cut them out. Give everybody, here's a stack, and let's see what 6 people can come up with.
Oh yeah.
But make it small, like a 10 by 10 sampler, so people can do it in their lifetime. But see
Mm-hmm.
what happens. That
Yeah.
could be a fun
Yeah.
activity.
Right. It would be a great challenge, and
Yeah.
see, and because then you wouldn't give colors. You'd say, okay, you're on for your colors,
Right.
which would drive some people crazy, but
Well.
you know,
Yeah.
but that would be fun to see what
Right.
they came. Especially if you said, okay, and you gave them more than they could use.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, so they could pick and choose. So everyone it would be a little different.
Right. Oh yeah. See, that's a no cost activity for a guild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, except for making copies of things,
Right.
but
Right.
that's a minor thing.
Right. Trivial. Yeah.
True. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for the idea.
Sure. But keep it small. To me, it's keep it small. Don't get
Right.
out of hand in a hurry.
Right.
500 colors of threads and
Oh,
yeah.
and too big and too long, because that's
Right.
the other issue. Because
Right.
people you just only have so much time.
Yeah. But I don't think it'd be that tough. Would it be something that people would line up to buy? Maybe, maybe not. Who cares?
Right.
It's the exercise of doing it.
Right. Right. It's for yourself too, just
Right.
to see what you come
Right.
up with.
Yeah, and you gain a little experience and you go, boy, that worked out really great except for this and this and this. I'm going to take another whack at it and see how I do
Try it again.
knowing that,
Right. Right. And I just think it'd be fun. I look at some samplers that are out there, and I keep on thinking, those should be queen stitches, or those should be satin stitch, or those
See?
should be something else.
Yep.
And instead of just cross stitch, which I like doing cross stitch, but it would be fun to take some of those, even those motifs, and say, okay, I'm going to interpret this as satin stitch
Yeah.
or queen stitch
Yep.
or rice or whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that would be fun.
Why not?
Yeah, in my spare time.
Sure.
So much monogamous stitching.
Do it tonight. Yeah. Do it tonight. Set it up.
Yeah. Set it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I have fabric.
I've had those thoughts too, that it would just be fun to take. Because there's so much stuff. There's so much material you can choose from. I mean, alphabets alone. How many alphabets are there? Tons of them.
Yeah.
And so, what would you do? What would you do with that? I mean, I could see, a bunch of medallions of different fonts of the same letter.
Oh, yeah.
Like a big A, and then around it, A's of different fonts, and go through.
Oh.
Go through the alphabet like that, or spell your name. Doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, you could just play, because there's so much of that material all charted.
Right.
You can just build off of it.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about doing medallions of them.
Yeah. Then do that in one color.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it'd be an easy pick up and put down piece, which is sometimes just nice to have.
Yeah. But yeah, I could see that. Like Beth, a big B, and then all kinds of other lowercase and uppercase B's in different fonts all around it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It'd only be good if you like stitching letters, though. If you don't like stitching letters, then you're out of luck.
See, I'm not doing that because I don't really care to stitch letters, so I'm not doing it. I just throw the idea out.
Oh, okay. Well, and I could see doing 2 different Quaker motifs with you know how they have all those, they have all the letters scattered around a lot of times in those Quaker samplers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, do those instead. Just do different. Take out the centers maybe and put the letters in there. I don't know. It'd be
Yeah.
fun to play with. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Time.
Yep. Yeah, it does always come down to that. Okay, so
Yeah.
I picked up Beloved the other night.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, just we got started on that. I did like 20 stitches on it, and then I set it aside. So it was sitting there. I wanted to watch a TV show. I picked names for a name I picked up from another podcast for TV shows and movies. Folding laundry shows.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yep.
get it?
Uh-huh.
Get it? Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Folding laundry shows. You can fold laundry, iron, cook dinner, whatever, sandwood, whatever.
Right.
And never and you don't have to pay full attention. So there's your term. Folding laundry shows, movies.
Folding laundry shows.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I picked that thing up, okay? And on the chart, the chart is on the thing, and all the symbols, and then it's DMC. And then whatever else. But we have Vicki Clayton's hand-dyed fibers colors, okay? So I have a chart for that, but I found myself going back and forth between the printed chart and the Vicki Clayton chart and then my threads. And I got to figure out a system so that every time I go to do a color, I don't have to go through all these steps.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Right. So is there any way you can just put the colors, like make a copy and white it out and put the Vicki Clayton's colors on there?
I knew it was simple. That's what it is.
I would make a copy of it, obviously,
Right.
because that way you don't mess up your original. But just white that area out, and
I was making it too complicated. That's what it is. The chart. I got the chart. Oh, jeez. Okay, solve that problem. Yep.
Yeah, and I was thinking you're doing that while watching TV. Where did you start?
Upper left.
Did you start upper left? Okay, and that's
border.
Does it have it has a alphabet it has a flower border.
It has a flower border. Yeah.
And so are you going to do the border all the way around? Yeah. Let's see, I haven't looked at mine in a while. I saw the fabric.
I don't think I'm going to do the border all the way around. I get bored with them. So I think I'm going to do enough and then start to stitch some of the alphabet bands that are at the top and work my way around.
See, and I've decided I'm going to work from the bottom because I just want to do the bird.
Yeah. I thought about just doing the birds in the center and not doing anything else. Yeah.
Right. Because that bird, I love that bird.
Yeah. Well, that's why we got all excited about it.
Yes. So and I thought, I did see the fabric. I was digging around downstairs for a project.
Yeah.
To start, and I was like, "Oh, there's that." And I was like, "No, you can't take that one. That one's got to stay there. So just leave that one there."
Yeah.
But so do you try to do, like, you're doing the border, and I know it has several colors in it. Do you stitch until you run out of thread, or do you do like, okay, I've done the 6 stitches that go here, and now it's another color. I'm going to add those colors.
Right.
Does that make sense?
That's what I do, and I had to haul out my pack PAK thing. That they still make them. They're a triangle thing that has foam where you put the needles, and then in the center is a card where you put the symbol. Because I was stitching, and then I'd finish the 8 or 10 stitches at that section. I'd finish that off. Then I've got these long pieces of thread. Well, you can't just throw those away, for crying out loud. And so then, all right, where do I store those and know what color it is? Because a lot of the colors are very close. And so then I had to get that thing out and start to set that up. So now what I'll end up with is a whole bunch of needles with different lengths of thread on them. But because that long ago when I did that stocking for our son Kevin, That's where I got this. It's Pack something. I forget what it's called.
Yeah,
Or
and I don't think
Paco.
I have one of those, but I've thought
Paco.
about it.
Pako. Paco. Yeah, anybody's looking for it. If you're doing a bunch of stuff that has a bunch of threads and you're going to have lengths that you're going to keep, it's just really great because it's got 2 rows of foam that you shove the needle in, and in the center is a card, and that comes with several cards with little boxes, and then you put the symbol in those boxes. So then all you do is stick the thread in for that symbol, and then you can just go back and forth and until the thread gets too short or too worn, and then you throw it away and start over. But for ones like this, where you're going to do a little bit here and a little bit there, then that allows you to keep track of it without going crazy.
Okay. So, would you thread a whole bunch of needles with all those colors then eventually, do you think, and just
No,
put them in, or you just as you go?
as I go. Yeah, no, because I don't want all that thread hanging all over, getting tangled up. I know I.
Well, and
Yeah,
it's silk, it's Vicky Clean silk, which is nice, but I just hate. I think it would get not dirty, but it's just there.
yeah, yeah. No. Like so like this one color that I finished up with last night. I probably got I don't know 10 inches left because it was like half dozen stitches on 40
Hmm.
count. So I got about 10 inches left. So then I put that in the Paco thing, and then I'll just come back and use that. And then when it gets down, so it's starting to show some wear, pitch it and put the needle back on the needle minder until I need that color again. But that'll work on. I'll need that on the border. But then I
Right.
don't think. Then I probably won't need it much until I get to the birds where there's several
Yeah.
colors, and then you're going to be back to. Because to me, it's probably not much different from full coverage pieces, where you got a bunch of colors working at once.
Hmm.
And so, but no, I'll just let the threading happen as I need it. I'm not gonna.
Right. And I tend to use a thread until I'm done with it. I find all the spots.
Oh,
But is it too far to carry then? I haven't looked at
yeah,
that chart.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. No, there's not a good. At least for me, no. There's too much open space. I'm not gonna carry. And then if I carry very far, then I feel like I gotta bury it, thread it underneath and at some point just end the thread and start over fresh where I need it, and
Okay. Yeah.
it doesn't bother me any. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's okay. That's what I got to do. See, I knew there was a simple solution. Just needed to talk it through. So I make a
Yeah.
color of the chart, white out all the DMC colors, put in the Vicky Clayton numbers, and then I can look once and be done. Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's the way I've got now. Now you've reminded me I should find my chart and do that too,
Yeah.
because that is going to be the problem if you don't.
Right.
You'll get easily confused.
Right. Well, easily, and I know I'm going to be half asleep one night. I'm going to make a mistake and choose the wrong color, stitch a whole bunch, come back the next day and go, what is that color doing there? And yeah,
It's like, whoa.
yeah. And then I'll be unhappy.
Yes. Very
Yep.
unhappy. Very unhappy.
All right. That's going to be it.
All right.
Send your emails to get in the drawing for the Clara Warschauer Sacred Heart thing. Gary at WeTalkFiber.com. Subject line, you put the word Clara, the name Clara, Clara, name and address in the body of the email. You have until the stitch hour ends next Wednesday, June 5. So you can enter any time, send an email. It gets all collected in one spot, and get in on that, and then go visit clarastitching.com to check out what Clara's got going. Mark your calendars for November 24 and 25 because that's when we'll be at Sassy Jacks. Jennifer. Oh, Jennifer and I are causing trouble.
Uh-oh.
Okay, coming up in early July, like July 4th, 3rd, or 4th, she does a lot of spinning during the Tour de France.
Mm-hmm.
At least she has in the past. So what we're talking about is doing a live show each morning watching the Tour de France.
Mm-hmm.
She'll either spin or stitch or quilt or whatever, whatever of the 1,000 things she does. And then I'll just stitch. And we'll either do a live show on YouTube, or the software I use for the live shows is soon going to be able to connect to Zoom. So
Oh,
then we
okay.
can invite people to come in and be with us. So we're talking about doing that. And we're not going to start at 6 in the morning when the coverage starts, because no. But we'll start at like 8 or 9 Central Time, something like that. And Jennifer's already made it clear she's not getting up real early for this under any circumstances. But so we're talking about we might get 2 hours or so of watching the Tour de France and
Oh,
stitching
fun.
each
Oh,
day
yeah.
for 21 days. Well, I don't know if we can do all 21 days either, but yeah,
Oh, that would be fun, though. That would
yeah,
be so much fun.
I think so. So that's in the works. Yeah, yep. So if
Oh,
people are,
yeah.
and if you don't know anything about the Tour de France, I watch bicycle racing all the time. I can explain most of it, so we could
Oh,
even have
good.
those discussions.
Yeah,
Because
that's what we need.
usually it's the fastest guy that wins.
Okay. But they have all the, okay, see, what I don't understand is what's the thing with the yellow jersey?
Well, that's the leader. That's the overall leader. But then there's a
Okay.
sprint. There's a green jersey. That's for the guy who is the fastest sprinter. And
Okay.
then there's a polka dot jersey, and that's the guy who is the best at climbing mountains.
Okay.
And then there's a
So,
white jersey, and that's for the best rider under age 25.
okay.
Yeah. And there's all kind. That's what's fun about it. It looks like just a bunch of guys riding through France on bikes very fast, but
That's what it looks like to me.
yeah, because that's pretty much it. But within that, I mean, it looks like an individual thing, an individual sport, but it's really a team sport. Because if you don't have a good team, you don't win. Because nobody's good enough to do it by themselves. So
Right.
there's a whole thing that goes into that, and what days do you go for the win, and what days do you kind of just get in the pack and take it easy, and yeah, it's a fascinating sport, but it takes a bit to understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, so you'll have to explain that, because I just,
Yeah,
I know that it's a team that works together to
right,
help the winner win.
right, yeah,
But it's like, other than that.
yeah, yeah, yep. Well, so Jennifer and I are throwing around ideas for how we're going to do this, but looks like we're going to have some kind of Tour de France
Ooh.
stitching and bike racing thing. Yeah.
Oh man, if you do that, maybe I could start because July is my birthday month, and
Okay.
so I
There
could
you go.
start a project and work on it for those 21 days while you're
21 days.
playing
Yep.
doing the Tour de France.
There you go, Beth. Right there. See? Figure it
Yeah,
out.
and if you did it in the morning, that
Yep.
would be perfect.
Yep.
Because yeah,
So that's in the works. Yep.
yay,
Yep. We're
fun.
sorting it out. And Jennifer will spin. And I want to see Jennifer spinning, quite frankly.
Hmm.
Yeah, I want to see that. She amazes
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Just
I wish I
amazing.
knit so I could get her to spin something
I
for me to
know. Yeah.
knit. I was
Yeah.
like,
I want that ball right there. Send
I
that
want
to
that.
me.
I don't have any. I don't have. I don't know how to do anything with it, but I want it because
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not learning knitting for that. No. No
No,
way.
no,
No.
no.
All
I
right.
don't need another hobby. All right, we better
That's
go.
it. We're done. Thanks for
All right.
listening. We'll be back June 9. We'll have the Linda Haddon, and June 5 we'll be back with the Stitch Hour. Enter the drawing to win a Clara kit. And thanks for listening to this extra special one. Bye.
Bye.